Here are today's episode highlights.
Comadritas, I am super excited because today's episode is very unique. Our very first Compadre. That's right. Bienvenidos, Mike Alfaro.
Gracias.
Welcome, Mike.
Bendito entre las mujeres.
Toast to that.
Yeah.
Oye, siempre empezamos con un brindis, compadrito.
Brindis, cheers,
Welcome to Comadres Unfiltered.
Y te viniste en un, espérame, no me digas, because I know that you came in Uber.
Vienen el Uber. Older people are going to be like, oh, they're changing everything. There's snowflakes. There's so many things, you know?
Because they don't want change.
Las Karens.
The criticism that Latinos were receiving at that same time from the Trump administration as well, it was like Latinos are criminals, they're lazy, they're moochers.
Yeah.
So I realized that the same struggles that Latinos and immigrants were facing were a lot of the same struggles that millennials were also facing. El nopal is now, I don't know if I can say it all. El nopal era el dick pic.
Oh my God, I want that version. Seriously.
Yeah.
¿Y ahora qué?
Where do I
¿Ahora
go?
dónde voy? ¿O quién me ayuda? So what took you from the idea to being on the Target shelves?
My new baby is called SI SABO Kids.
Yay!
Yeah. So,
I even went to school just to get credentialed. I only took one semester.
Yes.
Yes, I wanted to open a Spanish immersion preschool.
I want you to host the Loteria game because the way he reads those cards
Yes.
is the best.
I know, I love doing it.
We cannot let you go without playing Millennial Lotería.
Hello, welcome. We've been waiting for you.
Bienvenida. We are four comadres and we are so excited to have you here. I am Argelia.
I am Mindy.
I am Diana.
And I'm Janet. Join us. Grab that drink.
Get comfy, settle in, and get to know us.
As we get down with some real conversations.
And raise that glass to the true power of sisterhood.
Are you ready for us?
This is Comadres Unfiltered.
Salud! Salud. Whatever you're drinking at home or at work during your lunch break. Salucita. Comadritas, I am super excited because today's episode is very unique.
It is.
We are making history today. I mean, we have to say that in the past, we've had some pretty amazing guests, right?
Yes.
Super amazing. Beyond special. We love them dearly. But the guests that we have today in our beautiful room, in our cozy room, is extra unique. But before we talk about our guest, I want to show you this deck of cards.
A little clue.
Ooh.
Isn't it weird? I mean, el gluten,
Ah,
la thigh gap,
La
Karen, el Uber, el pride. Did we grow up with this?
no, not. I mean,
Not
it's
version
like
of it.
Loteria, right?
Yeah.
This is
Loteria.
definitely not the typical Loteria card that we played with our abuelitas. and our-
Definitely
right?
not.
It's not.
No.
The one that we grew up with, as you can tell, tiene 138 años. It's 138 years old because it was created in exactly, I'll tell you the year, 1887.
I didn't know that.
It's been around
Established
a long
No
time.
way.
1887.
1887.
Abuelita, te adoro en el cielo, pero ya no va.
Yeah.
Ya no va.
Time for a little update.
Now, why do I bring this up? Well, because today we're actually going to talk about Millennial Lotería, which is, as you can see, a very
Wow.
colorful, playful take on the classic.
And that's a
Updated.
beautiful box.
Very
I love that.
updated.
Mhm.
I have had this box since 2018
Yeah.
because the creator sent it to me. And ever since it arrived at my house, Annabella was probably like 6 or 7. This has been like part of the family gatherings with the primos and the primas.
Okay.
They don't want to play the bingo one with no, they don't. So the reason why this episode is extra special is because today, comadritas, we have the creator behind this game. And this person
awesome.
is going to tell us, how did it come about? Did this person even imagine that it would grow to be this big sensation amongst millennials and Gen Zs? And maybe even the alphas,
All the other
right?
generations as well.
And the reason why I'm super excited is because this person is an entrepreneur, is a writer, is a content creator, is an influencer, and as of now, Comadres Unfiltered is making history because this guest becomes officially our very first compadre. That's
Welcome, madre.
Bendito entre las mujeres. Bendito entre las mujeres.
Yes, you
Aquí estoy contento de
Sí
ser.
te enseñaron bien.
Gracias.
Mike, you are officially our very first male guest in the long history of Comadres
Yeah.
Unfiltered.
I feel awesome. I feel honored to be a compadre now.
You're
Yeah.
Girls,
Thank
es que
you.
es rico,
I love it.
you know
Yeah.
what?
That's awesome.
Toast to that.
Yeah.
Oye,
Yeah.
siempre empezamos con
Agüita.
un brindis,
Cheers.
compadrito.
Brindis, cheers,
Welcome
cheers.
to Comadres
Salud,
Unfiltered.
salud,
Compadrito.
salud, salud.
Did you
Yeah.
ever imagine? I mean, honestly, okay, when we started this project last year, ni por aquí nos surgió la idea de tener a un caballero.
No.
¿Verdad? And finally this year, we're like, you know what? It's Hispanic Heritage Month. We got to bring in someone that has done a lot for our community and representation. I mean, you've done an amazing job of not only adding color and funness, which is what we need the most now,
Thank
especially
you.
with the times that we're living.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have think of anyone better to be our first male guest, right? Did we do good or did we do good?
Great.
I love
¿Verdad que
it.
sí?
Thank you.
Love
Oye,
it.
Mike, bienvenido a tu casita. ¿Qué opinas de nuestro podcast de las comadres?
It's a beautiful studio. I love it. I feel the energy. Las vibras aquí. I'm happy. I'm very comfortable, in this space con ustedes. So I'm excited. And
Then
thank
we
you
have
for the food.
succeeded.
Yes, I was
That's
hungry,
awesome.
so I ate a lot.
There you go.
They
We
treat
gotta
you
keep our
good.
guests happy.
They treat you good when you come here for all the other guests. Yeah.
But you know what? You también me llegaste temprano. You are not a normal Latino. Llegaste
right. I'm
más.
early.
You're early bird.
I'm always early. Yeah.
I
It's
love
people's
that.
time in LA. You can't waste people's time.
I
They'll
know.
remember that.
I
That's
know.
so respectful.
Y te veniste en un, espérame, no me digas, because I know that you came in Uber.
Miren el Uber. Ajá, miren el Uber.
I love it.
So, Mike, we're going to talk about obviously how you are the son of immigrants, your journey, the fact that you're now a dad, and that has created a whole other line of amazing products within your business, which we want to know how does that happen. But first, let's talk about this baby right here.
Yeah.
It's sold more than 500,000 copies already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's made it to major
Probably
retail
more now.
stores and
Yeah.
counting.
Yeah.
It's made it to major retail stores, which we're going to talk about that controversy with Target.
We're not a Target anymore, by the way. So you can feel free to talk about it.
Yeah, baby. I'm glad you bring it up because
Yeah,
we're like,
no.
should we go there?
You should.
And
Yeah,
we
I
should.
think
This
it's
is a
worth it.
podcast. So we're going to talk about that controversy with Target and how Millennial Lotería was actually a big part of your
was on the
launch,
shelves.
you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But honestly, let's take it back to basics, right, girls?
Yes.
Primero, las voy a poner on the spot.
Oh.
Have you guys played Millennial Lotería?
No, I have not.
I have with a cup with my cousin. My cousin was the one who had it for Christmas.
Okay.
Many times. So we did, and this is before I've met you, but it was a shock to a lot of mis tías. ¿Cómo que qué? ¿Qué dijiste?
I love it.
And yeah, in a lot of, I would say half an hour, they stood and looked through the cards and looked through the las cartas. Because it was different.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
part of
and
what I wanted to do it.
It's
Sparks
fantastic.
conversation,
It does.
too.
It
Exactly.
does.
So let's piggyback on what Janet just said.
Yeah.
Tus tías pusieron el grito en el cielo.
Yeah, they
You
were
know,
shocked.
when I talked about this for the first time on my radio show back in 2018, before you sent it to me because we talked about this, and I was like, what in the world is this game? I'm going to tell you something I didn't tell you in the email. We had so many callers calling to complain that saying that
Yeah.
this was not a loteria. That this was some other thing, but do not call it loteria. Like people were offended. Our
Yeah.
listeners were offended.
Yeah.
And obviously the millennials came in and say, hey, this is the
stop it.
times we're living now, right?
Yeah.
So let's take it back to basics. How do we go from this to this? And it started with the trip, I believe, too.
Yeah,
Hermoso,
it started with a trip.
Guatemala.
Yeah, Guatemala. So I'm from
Yes.
Guatemala. I grew up there. I came to the United States when I was 18 years old. So, I'm 36 now. So I've been in here now like 18 years here in the United States,
Yes.
18 years in Guatemala.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely, that bicultural part of my life has been
Right.
expressed through my work. And I started this in 2017. Was when I first started posting on social media because I went to Guatemala. I found my old loteria set, like the one you're holding.
Uh-huh, this one.
And I was looking through the cards, when I was like back home in mi cuarto, but I had the TV on. And around that time, it was the Me Too marches were going on.
Right?
Yes.
And so there's a lot of like, I remember just like women just marching down the streets.
With their billboards
con
and
las,
everything.
con las
Yeah.
pancartas and everything. And I was holding a La Dama card. And I was looking at what's happening. I was like, you know what? This feels like it would be nowadays, it wouldn't be La Dama. Now it would be La Feminist.
Which-
That's what the card would
Yes.
Which
Yeah,
we're on the same page
absolutely.
here. La
There
Dama.
be. Uh-huh.
And you came up with,
La Feminist.
of course.
Yeah, because I saw the women marching and I was like, oh, this would be a good, like, I could update this card in solidarity, post it on social media to share, you know, like that we're part of, you know, an ally to what's going on at the time. And so we put it online and all my girlfriends were like, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to do this or whatever, you know? And then I was like, oh, this is cool. Maybe I could do another one. And I saw El Catrín and I was like, well, El Catrín would be El Hipster now. Because he's kind of dressed like a little hipster, you know?
Yeah.
So I just updated that. And then I saw La Sirena and she was holding up like her hand like this. And I was like, oh, nowadays she would just flip it and have a phone and it'd be La Selfie.
And which we have right here.
Yeah, and for me, it was doing...
Y le tapaste las boobies.
Le tapé las chichis, sí. Le tapé porque we were going to be on shelves and on Target.
Remember the original?
Oh my God.
So this is the original. And it's so interesting that you did that because I remember when I was playing this as a kid, I was like, ay, esa tarjeta tápala. We would literally try to go fast over this one because...
People told me they Sharpied over it. Like they were like,
it was a thing to cross this one, but you did a wonderful job with making it so authentic to the times of today.
You were just mentioning something about Target. The Target was the one that to put it on the shelves, you had to cover it?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to, well, originally it was never supposed to be a game that you would buy. Cool. It wasn't, it was an art project. Yeah. So then I started posting on, you know, my Instagram, made a separate Instagram and I started posting the cards and updating like how many could I do? Could I update every single card in the Loteria deck? Yeah. And I put myself through a little creative challenge because at that time I had quit my job. I had just gotten my green card, by the way. Wow. So I'd quit my daytime job and I just wanted to do a project for myself, you know?
Yeah.
And every time that I posted, I get more people that were interested in everything. And what card is it going to update next? And a lot of millennials felt represented because what I was doing was I wasn't trying to make something for like to reinvent Loteria. I was trying to do something that represented myself and my generation. And at that time, too, if you think about 2017, 2016, there was a lot of hate online towards millennials.
Yes.
People were all being like, oh, millennials are so lazy. Yeah. They're dumb. They're moochers. There's all these things through the system, right? And when you think about the criticism that Latinos were receiving at that same time from the Trump administration as well, it was like Latinos are criminals. They're lazy. They're moochers. Yeah. So I realized that the same struggles that Latinos and immigrants were facing were a lot of the same struggles that millennials were also facing. And then you're someone like me who's an immigrant, who's Latino, who is millennial. I realized this is the perfect way to express how I feel about this time. Totally. And a lot of people, you know, started getting so many followers and all of them started to say like, where can I buy this game? How can I buy this? How can I?
You were getting great feedback. Outrageous. Everything you would put out, people were commenting.
Yes.
Make another card, do something, right?
Yeah.
Just follow the Loteria card and make more.
Everybody was like saying, where can I buy it? So I had to figure out, how do I do this? How do I buy it? How do I get like, you know, what I need to do this? And there was definitely blowback, I think, from older people who were being like, how dare you change? But if you think about it, anything that anybody did at that time, older people were going to be like, oh, they're changing everything. There's snowflakes. There's so many things, you know?
Because they don't want change.
Less Karens.
But
well, it's traditionalists, right? You have people that are very, very, very attached because it is something that is part of our culture.
Yeah.
And they're traditionalists and they don't want things to change. But you are not changing the original. You are adding to it.
Exactly.
So that's the really special thing here.
And you kept the structure.
Yes. And I tried to keep it as faithful to the images a little bit because I wanted to have that nostalgia, but I also want to do a little twist that's funny, you know? Yeah. But here's actually a really curious thing that people don't really know is that you're saying that Loteria wasn't invented in like 18. It actually, and was it 1865?
Según la tarjeta esta, the classic one that we've been playing with our grandmas.
That's the Don Clemente version.
Don Clemente version, established 1887, which is from Spain, right?
Well, in the 1700s is when it actually started in Italy.
Italy.
Italy. De viene de Loto, Lotería. Le decían Lotería. And a lot of the images that are on those decks of cards still, I mean, it's a similar concept, you know?
Yeah.
But it was also, I mean, tenían la sirena, tenían el mundo, tenían la muerte, all of these cards because they're inspired from tarot cards. A lot of the images in Loteria are inspired from tarot cards. That's why a lot of people kind of confused and don't know about it. Yeah, they've come from it. And it started in Italy and then it became so popular as a parlor game within like the rich high class that would use it as betting. Right. And then it went to Spain. From Spain, obviamente came to New Spain at the time, which was like Guatemala, Mexico, large parts of the United States as well, in California, where they would play Lotería. And it just kind of trickled down, and people, that's when they added the tradition of playing with beans.
Sí.
That was added when people started to kind of appropriate. And the cards, they started to then all of a sudden put in new images that represented the people of Mexico at that time. So they would start adding La Chalupa, El Nopal. They started adding new things to Lotería. So people act like, oh, like you're changing. Lotería has a huge history of always changing. If you go back and look at older Lotería sets, there's cards that represent everything. It was just that for a long time,
it was untouched.
And Don Clemente, the idea of like Don Clemente, his name is actually Jacques Clement. He was a white immigrant from France. So he wasn't really like Latino. He came, he emigrated. He had a lot of sweatshops that he owned in Mexico. And he decided to like, saw that this was a very popular game. Maybe I can try to make my own version. So he commissioned artists to like basically take what has been done before, make his own version and mainstream it. And then that's where it kind of became bigger, and everybody was like, this is the one, but it has a huge history of being around.
This is so
a long
interesting.
time.
I know.
I never knew that. I thought it came from Mexico.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people, and it is. I'm not saying like it's not a big part. Mexico did a great thing, you know, a great thing in like keeping it part of the culture. But again, I did this too for Latinos who live in the United States, who also need that type of representation and who feel like there maybe wasn't a game that was for them. And I made one, and all of a sudden you see after the Millennial Lotería came out and on Target, I mean, we sold out like immediately.
Yeah.
We sold out everywhere. And I remember getting a call from my publisher, and because we had just launched at Target, right? And I guess the Target people called them and they're like, dude, did you guys drop like a advertising campaign? Like how much, you need to tell us all this because like we were sold out everywhere. Like, what did you do? And they were like, oh no, like a client just like dropped a TikTok. And I was like,
Talking about TikTok, I love that your new take, obviously, you know, La Luna, it's now makeup tutorial, which I love that.
Oh my God.
La Araña, which we grew up on, is now web designer, right? Brilliant. Las Jaras is the hashtag. These are one of my faves, by the way. That's why I picked them.
El Mundo.
I love that you did this. El student debt, which is heavy on our shoulders. And the fun one, El Valiente, is now an iconic card, El TikTokero. This is genius. This is genius. And I know you mentioned Target a few times, but you've also been featured at the store during Hispanic Heritage Month. I remember that. That was a few years ago. And that was like a huge deal for you. I mean, it kept going. People wanted
it was a great collab.
Your game.
Yeah. And again, it was, we were, you know, exclusive to Target for a little bit for our family-friendly version because the first version that we did, it wasn't as family-friendly. You know, there were some cards that would have made your abuelita just like blush out, you know?
Yes.
But we'd had to do a family version for Target, obviously. And then...
That's the version I want, by the way.
Yeah. El Nopal is now... I don't know if I can say it all. El Nopal era el dick pic.
Oh my God, I want that version. Seriously.
Yeah, people lost them. And it was really funny because when I posted it, people were like, would it be el dick pic or la dick pic? And people were like, which one is it? And it's either one. Because you can say like...
Los dick pics.
I don't know how many you're getting on your DMs. Exactly.
Ella quiere no uno, no Lola, los.
Golosas.
I love it.
So to go in Target, like you had to change a couple of these to make it more family friendly. You weren't able to bring in the other version.
No. There was a couple of things that we had to change. And you know, that's sort of like working with big retail where now again, and we actually have, you know, a special edition at Walmart now. So we have that's like more cards. And so we were able to like update it. But yeah, I think it's just been a learning learning struggle to how to work with big companies like that, how to do things. And it's always been really fun. But again, the support that I've received has always been very groundswell of it. And when I posted on TikTok, that's when people like started, I want to get this, I want to buy it. You know, it just... Now it's part of like people's lives. People tell me like it's an honor to be invited into people's living rooms with my work.
During holidays. Después de la cena del pavo, es like, saquen la Millennial Lotería. So you mentioned that this, had it not been for Instagram, social media. I mean, we would have never discovered Millennial Lotería. See the power of social media when you use it the right way, right, comadritas? But when you make it to Target, because I saw videos of you actually bringing boxes into your place, hauling those boxes, packaging those boxes. That's how it started.
Yeah.
So going into Target, would you say that that's the moment where you said, shit, I think I'm making it big?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I was making, because then I was making more money now from that than from my actual daytime job. And I was doing really well because I worked in advertising.
Right.
I did a lot of different campaigns. I'm a creative director, and so, but then I realized and it was so nice having two incomes at that time. Oh my God, I bought a house. It was great. It was great.
That's awesome.
But I was like, now I just want to focus on what else I can do. And so I left my daytime job. I still get hit up a lot of times to do consulting jobs for big studios or for shows and movies that I'm working with, of how to reach the Latino consumer, especially a young Latino consumer, in a way that feels relevant to them.
Yes.
And so I still do that, but I love having, this. And then I'm a dad now, and I don't want to get too ahead, but I've evolved in the content that I create because I've grown up from, it's almost been 10 years. And as millennials, we're growing up, and my audience is growing up with me, and they're going through different changes, and they like to see that reflected in my work.
I love that.
So let's take it back to the very beginning, because I know that you mentioned that you started drawing. So it became an art project.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly you started getting feedback. And then I think with the advertising, mind that you have, you started to say this might be something. Most people get to that point, right?
Yeah.
And then they're just like, ¿y ahora qué?
Where do I
¿Ahora
go?
dónde voy? ¿O quién me ayuda? ¿O cuánto va a costar esto? Like, how much is this going to cost? Like, what what are the next steps? So what took you from the idea to being on the Target shelves?
Well, first of all, it was the support of people, the community. I feel like that's the people that were pushing me to do it. They were like, you have to sell this. You have to do this. We want to buy this.
There was a demand.
How can we do it? There's a huge demand. And I think that's a lot of that. Business owners need to understand a lot of businesses that are created nowadays are created first on social media, just as a social media thing, because it's free. Right. You can put your product out there, and that's how you get feedback real time. It's a conversation with consumers. You're not paying for, it's free, free
marketing.
Free marketing. And you're also not paying for like a location shop or retail thing. Right. You can do it all through online platforms. So a lot of places where I was like, okay, let's do it online first. So I put it online. I put it on my Shopify. And I've said I invested about $20,000, which was everything I had saved up at the time.
Your life savings.
My life savings. Yeah. I invested into making the first 1,000 copies of the game.
Yeah.
And you contacted a company that...
I contacted a company here in Monrovia that I had since I worked in advertising, we had worked with different companies that create little like tchotchkes, like gifts for people, like little cards. So I was like, how can we do this, right? And so we did it. Obviously, it was very expensive to do just as a first run, but we charged put a good price tag on it. And then, it sold out within like the first 4 days. We were like, and I was like packaging everything in I had my own little sweatshop of me, in my little nerd room. And I was just sending everything out. And, once it was done, I think a lot of people took notice to like, wow, this sold out really fast. Like this.
It's a hot item.
Yeah. And
but
so.
you know why it sold fast too? We got to say it. One, you believed in your product.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the demand. There was a void, there was a need, and you fulfilled it. Y lo más importante, you're a content creator. Mm-hmm. Your videos were everything. You're a marketer. You're an advertiser. You know how to do these videos because yo salgo con un producto y nomás mi mamá me lo va a comprar. No te pelan. No me pelan.
Yeah.
Bueno, maybe mi familia, ¿verdad? Ustedes, mis comadres.
Yes.
But honestly, the fact that it's like you have the perfect formula, Mike. No todo mundo es Mike Alfaro.
And it came from actually a viewer, because originally when I started posting, it was just cards. It was Instagram. Like nobody was doing videos. They weren't reels. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it was just the cards. But I also had my personal account, which I don't really use anymore now.
I follow that one too.
Yeah, yeah. Like so, I don't use it as much. And so I had someone who followed me on both. And I used to post things, and they sent me a message, be like, dude, you know what? And he's like, if you could combine what you do over here, these little funny videos that you don't personal account, with Millennial Lotería, I would love to watch that. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should. Maybe I should post about my personal life and about what I'm doing and about who I am. Because when I'm doing a project like Millennial Lotería, first of all, people are going to get mad if they think it's someone who's not a Latino who's doing it.
Yes.
So I had to first prove to people, I am a Latino. I understand the concept of this. Here's what I'm doing it. And so putting my face out there. And I always say, put yourself out there, because when I started posting, I would lose 100 followers every time I posted my face. People were like, oh, we don't want to hear about you. We want just Loteria cards, right?
Oh, really?
But I kept posting, and I would lose 100, but then I would gain 500.
Right.
That's amazing.
And then you would lose. And I always tell people, like, it's just called in the biz, it's just basically called a follower refresh. That's just what it is. Sometimes you just have to refresh your followers. Some people are not going to like you if you do something else, but you're going to find other people. So I tell people, like, just post what you want to do. Do it for yourself. And then people will see that you're being authentic. And that's where a lot of like my support started to come. And sometimes I post random stuff that have nothing to do with Lotería, but then they come to my page and they're like, oh, he also has a Lotería? Let me click on that to see what that's about.
Exactly.
You know, so, and it's not really like as salesy as people expect everything to be.
I think that's what it is. It's relatable.
Yeah.
And so a lot of your products that you've brought out since then are needs, you know, in the market, because a lot of our Latino culture and people and community just don't have these products, and so we're a little bit behind. We know what we like, but we've made do with what's out there. And that disconnect, which was that idea, there's a lot of ideas out there, right? We're like sitting around the table, we're like, this would be so much cooler if it was this color, or if it was like this. Pero I think the one difference here is that you took it to that next level, and you did have a lot of support, but you also just did it, you know, and you're talking about like the trial and error and, you know, starting with the first one and then changing to the second one that was a little bit more family friendly. And I think that's a really good reminder to everybody out there to just do it, you know?
And he did it for fun. Right? I mean, he didn't do it with a big master plan. You were just, let's just have fun. Let me just throw it out there. So it was so natural.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of, I always want to remember that, look, this Millennial Lotería project has been a way of representing myself, what I think, me first. And then there's so many more people out there that feel the same way that you do. You just got to put yourself out there. People sometimes feel really alone. When I came to the United States, I mean, I was an immigrant. I didn't know anyone in this country. I felt so alone. And I came to Orange County so white, you know? I went to school that I didn't know another Guatemalan. There was like a very small Mexican-American community. And again, so I just felt like very misunderstood in terms of also my my immigrant experience, you know? Had obviously like weird like interactions with people that didn't know where Guatemala was and all this kind of stuff, you know?
I think they called it Guadalajara. They thought it was Guadalajara.
Yes, they thought it was Guadalajara for sure. They thought it was Guadalajara. I remember telling someone,
oh my gosh.
I was like, oh, like where this girl being like, and again, I don't, like, I always get like, you're from Guatemala, you don't look Latino. And I was like, what am I supposed to look like? Like a taco? Like, what, you know, like, what am I, like a quetzal? What am I supposed to look like?
This is also a Guatemalan man can look like.
Yes.
This is Guatemala, 100%.
You know, they would ask me like, where are you from? I would say, oh, Guatemala, ¿dónde es eso? Where is that? And I was like, oh, like Central America. And they'd be like, oh, so like around Texas? And I was like,
oh my gosh. Es que de verdad la gente está muy mal.
Their geography is off.
Yeah. And I didn't also like, I never was really like too mean, because sometimes people ask me like where a certain countries in the world, and I was like, I don't know. You know, I'm not like the greatest at geography. So it's all about, I didn't take it as like, I take it more as like a little bit of ignorance, you know, which everybody can have, rather than a slight towards me. But I think that's why I really started to get more confident when I moved to LA and I was more around more Latinos. I started to get more confident to like express myself and what I was thinking. And, you know, the product just connected with so many people, and I'm just so happy about that.
I love that.
What has been the biggest call you've gotten from maybe either a celebrity or a company?
Oh my God. I've worked with so many people. I mean, I worked with McDonald's. That was a huge thing. We did for Hispanic Heritage Month, I think 2023 or 2024.
What did you do with them?
We did a special edition of Millennial Lotería McDonald's edition using like their sort of IP, kind of their, you know, their old. I was like, I want to, you know, make Grimace going down in the chalupa, but I want him to like have all these like shakes or burgers or whatever, you know, and I want Birdie to be El Pájaro, you know, and all these different things. So La Bota is going to be like Ronald's little shoe. And so it's a little bit like, you know, updating to what I wanted this to be. And, you know, again, that was a success. I saw it the other day. Somebody sent me a screenshot. It's online now at eBay. You can buy it for like $400. Like
what?
It's like the resale, and it was a free thing. We weren't selling it. It was actually just like a free promo event for Hispanic Heritage Month. You'd come to store to McDonald's in Southern California, and we'd have like Millennial Lotería nights. So we did that. I work with so many movies. I just did something with Superman. You know, he's an immigrant too. That's right. You know,
that's right.
So we've done different. Very successful. Disney, we did a whole loteria for the movie Wish. Encanto, we did a whole loteria for Encanto when that came out.
Yes, I've seen that. And it's like, wow, you're just all over the place.
Cool.
It's just, I like to do, it's like my pop girl loteria because I'm a big pop fan. I love pop music. I love listening like to like female singers. Like that's just like, I like all that kind of stuff. And so, I just, those are like not even branded. I was like, let's make a card for like, you know, Karol G. Let's do one. Let's do a Karol G card, you know. Let's do a card for Taylor. I was like, la Taylor ahorita for Taylor.
Pues, ¿sabes qué? Como ya sacaste la del podcast.
El podcast, sí.
Which, by the way, I love love this card and podcast.
Love it.
You're going to have to do a curated one for Las Comadres.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Las Comadres.
Y pones las cuatro caritas de Argelia, Mindy, Janet y Diana, ¿eh?
Perfect.
I put them on the spot already. Qué
It's
mala,
gonna be
¿verdad?
more like La Loca. Reservada.
Yeah, you gotta tell me what your personalities are. Yeah.
La que no se calla.
La picante.
La picante. Oh, ya sabes con la picante.
So, where do you see this going in the next 10 years? Where do you see yourself?
From Millennial Lotería or just me in
Yes,
general?
from Millennial Lotería.
From Millennial Lotería, I honestly have new priorities. I feel like Millennial Lotería it's going, it's what it is, and now I'll do collaborations. But right now, my mind is on new projects, new things, and that's where I'm
exciting.
like, that's where I'm getting a lot of my energy from. Just new things.
And what's in store? We want to hear all about it.
Can I talk about it?
Well, I think that right now you mentioned that's where you're getting your energy.
Yeah.
I think you took a new spin once you became a dad.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that that's what sparked your new baby, besides your baby girl who's about to be 3 years old anytime soon. So felicidades por ser
Gracias.
papá.
Gracias, papá. Yeah.
Te cambió la vida, ahora eres papacito.
Yeah.
O papazote.
Papacito.
But you know what I think is interesting? That you would think that being a new dad, right, you would hardly sleep on top of everything that you're doing with Millennial Lotería.
Oh, don't sleep. Yeah.
I would say probably.
Pero it's like, en
A
qué
little bit of both.
momento you still keep, your mind just keeps going, because now you're a dad and you're seeing something else in your household and you're like, what else can I bring up? And I want you to talk about that new baby.
Yeah. So my new baby is called SI SABO Kids.
Yay!
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Love
it's the SABO Kids book. The first book that we put together is this book right here. It's a 3-book collection called Los Street Vendors.
Yeah.
And I wanted to teach my daughter Spanish. Obviously, I grew up speaking Spanish first. And as I was growing up, my parents, my dad and my mom always told me that speaking a second language would open the doors of the world for you.
Yes.
And so I really internalized that, and I started to learn English when I was 5 years old. But my mom, before that, would always kind of do little flashcards for me.
Really?
Even she doesn't speak much English at all, really. She is much more comfortable speaking in Spanish. My dad too. But they knew that they wanted to introduce that to me. So even they were like trying to be like, my dad can't even say bird. He says like beard. Beard. There's lots of, he can't say turtle. He says turtle. He can't do it. But I remember him struggling to try to say those words to me in English to try to teach me, And that's where I picked up English, and like watching a lot of television. So now with my daughter here in the United States, I'm in a mixed sort of marriage where my wife speaks English. I speak Spanish in English, right? And so in our household, sometimes I just revert to speaking English because we're there. I know a lot of people love to do where their kids only speak Spanish, but that's not a reality in our house.
I think that was a reality for first gens, when you have someone that, they both speak Spanish, like our parents.
Yes.
But when you have, a partner that doesn't speak Spanish, I can see how going to English is the most comfortable thing for the environment.
I can totally relate to that.
I relate to that.
We relate to that.
100%.
Our daughters are mixed also.
Yes.
And my oldest, I spoke Spanish to her from the minute she was born.
Yeah.
Just Spanish for the first 5 years. So
Yeah.
she got to kindergarten. She didn't want to speak Spanish anymore to me.
Oh.
And then when I had another baby a few years later, now she and I were just speaking English.
Yeah.
So now my youngest only speaks English. She doesn't speak any Spanish.
Yeah.
And that's such a shame. So seeing these books, I'm like, I need to get these for her.
We need to get that.
It's
But
good
I love
reminders.
what you did.
Yeah.
I love what you did, because we grew up thinking that if we don't teach our kids proper Spanish like our parents, then they would be shamed. And like, que vergüenza, you're losing your mother tongue, as they say, right? And so for me as a mom, I did have that mommy guilt. Like, chin, I did the best I could. Hablan español, pero no lo hablan como mami o papi o a las abuelas, pero lo hablan y lo entienden.
Good.
But in the meantime, I was like, pero are they no sabo kids? Because that's when that term came up a few years ago with the no sabo kids, when this little kid became viral when he was interviewed. And he literally said no sabo, and that video just took it to everywhere. And it had a negative connotation, like, oh, es un niño no sabo. And even it crossed my mind for my kids, like, oh, shoot, are my girls going to be no sabo kids? Y me preocupó que I was applying the negative connotation to my own family.
Yeah.
So I love that you're turning the narrative around. SI SABO.
SI SABO, yeah. And again, it's not like about being perfect. That's what my main thing is with these books. It's like, it's not about being perfect when you're teaching your kids Spanish. It's about just trying. Just about trying to do it, you know?
Exposing them.
Exposing them. And there's a lot of parents now, like young parents who are Latinos who, again, don't know any Spanish, but they want their kids to learn something that they maybe missed out on.
Yeah.
And so all of our books have pronunciation guides in the back that are phonetic. So like if you don't, so you can just kind of sound it out. If you need to learn how to say a word,
Right.
like you can sound it out phonetically.
Oh, that's great.
You know, like
Yeah.
the tiburón is like ti, bu, ron, you know? And so you kind of like start to figure out how to say it. So that was a big part of it too. And there's not a lot of stuff like that in the market geared towards people that could be called no sabos. Like this is something that kind of also takes the air out of that term.
I like
you know?
that because I know there's a
It
game
is,
out there called
Yo Sabo, yeah.
Yo
Great
Sabo.
people,
and I
by
think
the way.
that's
I know
genius
them.
too.
Oh,
Yo
yes.
Sabo, shout out to Yo Sabo. Yeah, I
Yes.
met her and they're a couple, right?
they're a
They
couple,
came
yeah,
up with
yeah.
the Yo Sabo
They're
kit.
wonderful people.
Yo Sabo
Wonderful, yeah.
came. But that's awesome because I know that there's heat around this conversation about our kids not knowing
Yes.
Spanish. But we just have to accept that this is a second generation, third generation. As
Right.
long as we make an effort,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's on them.
That's
Wet.
exactly
Yeah.
right. I think part of what you have created is, you know, our new generation of kids, and that's, you know, our kids grew up very differently than we did, right? And we were exposed to more Spanish just for what you said. We're first generation.
Watching
A lot of our-
novelas.
watching novelas because
Yeah.
we were exposed to just the
Yeah.
immigrant story,
Yeah.
right? And so we communicated with our parents in Spanish. As soon as we enter the world, we are the duality, right? We're going from here to here and we're switching code, if you will. But our kids are now not only as exposed as we were, they're not exposed. They're now living in different parts of Los Angeles, right? We move away from our families. Now their exposure is their friends, right? We grew up with our primos.
Yeah.
They have friends now. And so
And their friends are different nationalities now.
Yes.
They're Asian.
that's exactly right.
I mean, they're from all over
All
the
over.
place.
And
Europe. So
yeah.
it's actually not a little. It's a lot different.
it's a lot
Yes.
different.
When we grew up with just our people.
Latinos.
our
Yeah.
cousins.
Just
Our
Latinos.
cousins.
Yes.
Our
And
best
the-
friends were our cousins.
The essence that I feel like our kids are missing is that cultural connection.
Yeah.
That with something that they understand, because we can introduce something that we grew up with, but they don't relate to it the same way.
They're not going
And
to.
so I love, especially, I mean, the Millennial
I think that's
Lotería.
like, I was gonna say that Millennial Lotería. That's you said
The
something on there
bridge.
where like there's a lot of
Yes.
people that are young that want to connect
Yes.
to that, but they want to connect in their own way,
Exactly.
and not just the way their parents did it. And I think
Exactly.
that's where I kind of hit the nail on the head on that. And I'm trying to recreate sort of that spark that I caught in a bottle, you know,
Right.
Totally.
with these Sabo kids, and try to get. You know, because there's a lot of people that are my age that are now having kids, and they really are thinking about it now more than ever about teaching your kids Spanish. Listen, it's never, I know there's a lot of heat on our community at this point, immigrant community. There's a lot of stuff coming down on us that's really feels heavy, that's burdensome, that's awful about what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also think that there has never been a moment in time where it is cooler or hotter or sexier to be Latino.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Qué bueno que lo dijiste.
There's never
Yes.
time. So do not let all the stuff that we're seeing
That's
kind of put that fire out in you, because there is not a better time right now. Look at what Bad Bunny's doing. Look at what
Yes.
all these celebrities that are Latinos that are making, and look at what you guys have created here. You know,
Yes.
all these things are things that you wouldn't have imagined like 10 years ago of having a podcast, like what we
Right,
were talking about,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
But now I think it's a time for really putting yourself out there. And so I made this very Latino, like everything that we do for SI SABO Kids is based on something that's culturally relevant. Like,
Same.
you know, we did street vendors as our
Yes.
first book. We have, you know, you're teaching colores from el puesto de flores, frutas from el frutero, and my favorite one, which is like shapes,
Ajá.
las paletas del paletero, you know, because they all come in different paletas, you know, in different shapes. So I think
That's
that to me
cute.
was very, we have a new book coming out called La Plaza, which is similar to this, but it's a, you know, learn opposites from La Tienda de Piñatas. You learn, you know, about all these different las bandas. You learn instruments from las bandas.
Right.
So it's all
Right.
culturally relevant stuff that you can teach your kid. You know, and I was inspired by the street vendors outside of my
Totally.
house that are there,
Exactly.
you know?
Oh,
like,
Yes.
There's a very famous like taquero place near, I'm not going to dox myself saying where I live. There's a very famous taquero
Yeah.
place where I
Yes.
live, you know, it's always packed. And so I just wanted to bring that representation again into these children's book to
And
Yes.
I love
that.
and I love that during
I really
Hispanic Heritage Month, you know, obviously talking about representation and
Yeah.
identity is super important. And I love what you just said, but you're building bridges and you are keeping an eye on what's happening outside. And so these past few months have been extremely difficult in our country. LA is obviously not an exception. And I believe you talking about el paletero, that card really got me. The one with el paletero without el paletero.
Yeah, no, we did when the immigration raids were starting in LA with ICE coming down. I did the card called Los Vecinos, and it was just an empty card. And so what I decided to do was like take these iconic images that you would imagine of Lotería and just take the images out and just leave an empty space where it would be La Madre, El Padre, Los Estudiantes.
Wow,
because if you're seeing the amount of people that are being taken off the street, they're not criminals.
No.
You know, majority of the people that are being rounded up are just hardworking people that are just trying to make a living, that you know, are contributing to society. And it's like, you know, you see these paletero cars just empty from people who just got like snatched up the street by masked men. And it's like, you know, it's something that hurts so much, I think, in the community and makes people feel a little bit powerless. And so in that way, I wanted to create a card that didn't profit off the pain of these people, but also kind of served as a reminder of like what we're losing and what we're losing in LA when these things happen, and
to be mindful of what's
to be
happening.
mindful, to be aware, because I mean,
and
as a brand,
to document, right? Because I feel like so much of what's happening, we try to find balance in our own lives, right? And we're still taking the kids to school, but we see all of this awful stuff that's happening. And we do feel powerless. We do feel that. And then also, I feel like the next day there's something different, right? And so documenting these moments in a very real way and showing that's really special. And the fact that you guys took that angle to document that moment, that's really special.
Yeah, it hurt. And it's, you know, I always have to be mindful too, because a lot of time when I started too, I was like, you know, in the first administration with Trump, it was like I was speaking out a lot about every single issue that came about. And sometimes I feel like that can have a negative effect too, because you start kind of sharing all these negative information with a lot of people that follow you, that maybe sometimes they're aware of what's happening. Like everyone is aware of what's happening. And so that I have to be very mindful of how I share things, where it's not like creating more pain to people, but more of like, how can I uplift? How can I also make people think? How can I make people feel? Instead of just constant doing like trauma dumps on people. Or like, you know, there's many times where I just get like really upset, and I was like, I need to take a moment to really, what can I do? And at this moment, I think, you know, getting people to speak Spanish to me is a simple, small way where I can like have that be a part of, you know, what I try to do. Getting people to know that you have to be proud of speaking Spanish, because a lot of people in, like you say, in different generations maybe didn't want to speak Spanish because it was like shameful. And now, you know, I think people are thinking now that like speaking Spanish can be dangerous because it's a way that people identify you as another, you know? And so I have to fight back in a certain way. And I think, you know, putting like street vendors in our books to normalize it as part of the community, like, and something that's helpful was really important. And that happened even before the raids were happening. So now I'm like, wow, these little books were kind of a little bit ahead of their time with what was coming. So, you know, it's hard for a lot of people. And sometimes all I can do is like try to uplift people and let them know that they're not alone. There's people who also feel the same way you do, and that there's pathways that you can take.
You know, that's very admirable, because it's obvious that your work is more than fun games.
Yes.
It's more than, you know, cute, colorful books that are going to teach Spanish to our kids. You are using your voice, your platforms, because your platforms are huge. You have more than 400,000 followers, and people listen to Mike Alfaro. So the fact that you are using these avenues to send out a message, that's powerful, Mike. So we want to thank you for doing that, because that was not the mission when you came up with your first drawing in 2017. But look at where you are. I just want to remind you that we need people like you. And sometimes I want to do more. Janet wants to do more. We all want to do more, and we don't know what to do. So our best thing is use our mic, use our voice, and do what we can. And just to be, you know, uplifting our comadres and our subscribers who are going through tough times as well. But sometimes we're like, nos sentimos con las manos atadas. But when we hear your story, we're like, even if it's one post, because look at what one post did to you. It all started with one post, you know?
Just uplifting our community, you know, and in so many ways, and highlighting all the beautiful parts of our culture. You know, I think you did that with the street vendors. How many times do we drive past? It's just become a part of
our life.
Our lives,
It's
you know?
It's normal.
But to stop and create a moment because that is a part. It's a really special,
Yeah.
you know? And so to create that and to put all of that energy and love into a book, I think that's really, really special. And now we get to share it to our kids where they're not just driving by. It's a conscious like effort to know that all these people make up our community.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful. I love what you're doing.
When my daughter says like, you know, Daddy, I want a paleta. Like, yes. You know? Yes, it's working.
Not
you
ice
know?
cream, she says paleta.
Paleta, she says, you know, quiero. Since little, she's like agua. Anytime she knows agua, paleta, you know, she counts now. She's done everything. Los colores. She doesn't say. It's funny because like she will say she prefers some colors in Spanish, some in English, and that's fine. I don't correct her. You know, she's like amarillo. She will refuse to say yellow. She'll say amarillo. You know, but then she's interchangeable with like rojo or red. Azul or blue, you know, but amarillo, she's like, that's the color.
Esa
you know?
niña sí sabe.
Yeah, sí sabe. Yeah. And so
I'm taking
Keep it up because when they turn 4 or 5 and then they start preschool, which is what happened with our kids, you know, it's.
I sent her to, I've sent her to sorry to cut you off in that way. No, she just started, this is the first week and we only wanted schools that were Spanish immersion.
Yes.
So that's what she's going to be in. She's going to be in a Spanish immersion. And so we'll see how, I'm out of district from some really cool, so I'm going to get into the whole like trying to get her into another school when she's out of preschool, you know, to start. But Spanish immersion is something that I really want her to be a part of, you know, and have that.
I almost opened. I wanted my daughter. Remember that?
Yes.
I even went to school just to get credentialed. I only took one semester. Yes. I wanted to open a Spanish immersion preschool in my area because where we live.
Used to take our kids all the way to the west side.
Yes. To classes. We were always looking for something bilingual for our kids, some kind of Spanish immersion because in our part of the valley, they didn't have schools, only like on the west side or it was more like ESL schools. So it was different for our kids because we're like, no, our kids, like they're just, anyways, this is amazing because my 7-year-old, I want to take her to Mexico. I want to take them to Mexico. It'll be my 7-year-old's first time going in December and she doesn't speak Spanish. So my oldest gives her a hard time. Oh, you can't go to Mexico. You don't speak Spanish. I do. And I'm like, yeah. So I am going to take these books and we're going to start learning
Spanish. Just those parts in Mexico where people always speak English too. That's like
but his family does it.
Vámonos a Polanco.
I know.
Oye, you know who else is very proud of you?
Who?
Tu abuelita.
Mi abuelita, sí.
Platícanos de tu abuelita porque tengo entendido que cuando ibas a Guatemala jugaban lotería. Y le contaste de tu proyecto.
Pues mi abuelita falleció antes de que yo pudiera hacer este proyecto. Y ella vivió aquí en Estados Unidos. Ella vivió en Estados Unidos mucho. Murió aquí en Estados Unidos. Yeah. She came here for. And I had a family that had come. Aunts that had fled political persecution, you know, to the United States a long time, even before I was born. So they, you know, I had family in the United States, but they're all in the East Coast. So I'm the only one here in California. But which is now I have a not a niece, like a cousin that just moved here to go to school. But now, you know, it was one of those things where we would play loteria, but she was already older. She suffered from a lot of like older dementia and stuff in the early. So it was very hard on our family, on my mom as well. And so it's one of those things that, you know, but again, now that I'm thinking about it, I did a Remember how I told you about I have a new show on that Nation Cultura Shock?
Oh, because Mike Alfaro is also on TV.
I'm also a host, yes. I do a lot of stuff.
My goodness.
Can you tell he's good at the mic. So Mike is good at the mic.
You know,
he is busy.
I was doing a lot of stuff. I did a PSA too for mental health and like Alzheimer's, and that's how they kind of like had seen me and like connected with me, and then they were like offered me a show because I did that. But again, I was thinking, I was like, maybe there's part to do with my you know, someone looking down on me and like helping me. And we did there was a Hispanic Heritage Month special that Oprah did on her Oprah magazine, and they featured my abuelita about it, and I was like, abuelita, yeah.
Wait, who's having that conversation? Wow, con tu abuelita. That's a dream.
Well, they featured just like they featured a picture and how I was inspired by certain things. You know, and family is just so important. And now I always want kind of remember, like there's so many things I remember from my parents teaching me. Now I'm that parent. Now I have to teach my daughter about these things, and that's what I'm trying to do with all the stuff I make.
That's amazing. I love that. And Mike wants to share a little surprise for our subscribers. We're not going to share that. You tell them what's going to happen with all these products that we see on the podcast. We have books over there. There's more game sets here. No sé qué tanto has traído.
Yeah, I have lots of stuff. We have game sets, puzzles, we have flashcards, we have a little bilingual library too. That beautiful book over there.
Right here.
No, this
Roll
one,
your R's.
But how do you roll your R's?
Here.
Oh my God, let me show you this one
Show
here.
us.
Yeah, so this comes out on September 24th, right around time for Hispanic Heritage Month when this comes around.
So this is like an exclusive sneak peek.
Yeah. This is like how do you roll your R's? So again, rolling your R's is something that's harder for a lot of people. There's not books out there that teaches you. And so what I wanted to do was create a sound book so that kids could hear how you roll your R's. And it's all these little R's inside that like, first you have a little like, for the parents on how to roll your R's if you don't know.
For the parents, because there are parents that need to roll their R's.
I love that. There's the anatomy of it, right? Like you have where your tongue is supposed to be.
Go. And then, but we also have now here, like, it's like, it says like, how do you roll your R's? Do you roll them like el perro, doing tricks to get a treat? And then it's had a little button here and you say
press it.
Perro. Genius.
It's like, do you roll them like el carro, going vroom vroom down the street? And then,
okay, I gotta ask. Is that your voice?
That's my voice. Yeah, that's me. So you can bring me into your home as well,
So there's a mic in your house with Roll Your R's with Teacher Mike.
God, I need these. I need all of this. I need all of this.
So we are gonna have a giveaway.
We're gonna have a giveaway. Yes. You're gonna do a giveaway for your subscribers. I will let you guys come up with the rules of how you're going to do this giveaway, but we're going to give away a prize package, I think, to two of your listeners. So we have two listeners getting a prize package of our SI SABO Kids Book Collection. So,
Me encanta.
Yeah. Right in time for Hispanic Heritage Month to celebrate our community and for your children. Right?
Beautiful.
I love it.
Now that you brought up Hispanic Heritage Month, Janet, is there some advice that you can give to this next generation? I mean, your stories is already inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Pero, ¿qué consejo les das to embrace their culture more? What advice can you give them to embrace their culture, not to be shameful? Al contrario, chase your dreams, but don't forget who you are. So what, in your words, what is it after hearing your story?
Yeah, lean into your Latinidad. I think lean into it because it's a big underserved market out there. And let's say maybe you're someone who doesn't feel comfortable leaning into Latinidad, feeling that's not something for you. That's okay as well. You don't have, it's just be yourself. And I think that's when I started just to be myself and create things for me. That's when things started to turn around. Before that, I was trying to do different things, trying to like, whether it maybe assimilate to more or like whether maybe try to, I don't know, like just try to blend in. That's when I, sort of didn't feel as connected to who I was. But then when I just started to be, I'm just going to be myself. I'm just going to do something for myself. And it was a risk to update Loteria in a way that I did it, because it didn't feel like it represented me. So I wanted something that represented me in a way that was current. And if you don't see that content out there, create it.
Okay.
Put yourself on social media. Put yourself online. Create for who you are, and there's other people out there that are going to see it and connect with it as well.
That's great advice.
Good advice for all of us.
Very good advice.
For all of us.
Yes.
I'm not going to let you go. Target. ¿Qué pasó? Cuéntanos el chisme. Okay. The thing is that there's a big movement going on right now with boycotting Target for what's happening. We don't have to go through that deep, but obviously I was curious about your Millennial Lotería because that's where, it flew off the shelves. Right. Yeah. And when I was preparing for this podcast, I was like, well, you know what? Let me go see how this product is doing at Target. And I didn't see it. And I was like, oh, ¿ya se lo quitaron? Oh, no. Oh, heck no. I want to talk to Mike. What happened? Was that a move that you came up with? Or is this whole heat with Target affected your product? O nos sacaron?
We got out of there before the whole boycott. We were out of there before the boycott because when you're selling to big stores like that, they want you to sell everywhere. And yes, it was great that we sold out everywhere in the country, but when you're talking about sustained sales, we have no problem selling in California, no problem selling in like Texas, like, all the big Latino sort of places, we have no problem selling. But they want you to move a lot of product in places like Alabama, North Dakota, West Virginia. And it's like, unless I'm like running advertising over there, there's not a lot of need for it, And so it's not like they had specific like programs where it could place us regionally. We just have to sell everything everywhere in the country. That's also a big ask for a smaller sort of like operation. And so it just was something that just wasn't in the cards for for us anymore. And so decided to, Walmart does a lot better job of sort of reaching out Latinos in those areas than Target. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, and you see sales at Target right now are going down, not only for that, but they're pulling a lot of the support that they were pouring into, because let me tell you, at the beginning, Target was really, really, really investing in Latinos and in people of color,
African Americans.
communities. Very, very, very big investment into them. But I think it was a new CEO who comes in. I heard he just got like,
Yeah, he's out.
Stepped down.
out.
He did not step down. He actually moved into chair of the board.
Oh.
And they just put the
It's like a
CFO
shifting
in.
of
So
money.
there's no accountability
Pero
just yet.
piensan que somos mensos y que no nos damos cuenta. We know their strategies. But it's,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He just
Very
he
sneaky move.
stepped off the role, but they put him as chair of the board.
And so we'll
the
see
pressure.
what they do with everything, obviously they're hurting not just, from things, but that move was sort of done before all the controversy, which I think was somehow in a weird way, like a blessing in disguise.
Your abuelita.
Tu abuelita dijo, ¿sabes qué? Salte de aquí antes de que se ponga caliente la cosa.
Yeah, and I'm not, listen, if they make conscious changes and they make different things and they really invest, I'm not opposed to like working again, but it's just something that also, brands have to think about that, who they align themselves with. But again, we live in a country where there's just everything's run by billionaires too,
Yes.
So it's hard to escape really where you're selling. It's like you're selling on Amazon, there's issues there. You're selling Walmart, there's issues there too. There's issues in every sort of big company. So it's just about trying to do good by your community and trying to do what you can.
Well, we want you to be a millionaire. And when that happens, I don't know if it happened already. Somos tus comadres. I mean, don't
There will
forget
be
about
signs,
forget millionaire, billionaire.
Yeah.
We gotta dream big here, right?
Oh
Because
my
this is
God.
just the beginning, Mike. You're just scratching the surface. You're so young. I mean, look at your age, what you create already. You've left a huge mark already, contributing to our country and putting the name of Latinos so high up there.
Yes.
And we cannot let you go without playing Millennial Lotería.
Hey.
These girls, comadritas, have not played. We've never played together.
Oh, no?
So I was thinking, let's do it the Mexican way. La primera raya.
Yeah, okay,
Right?
okay.
But
yeah.
you're going to call the cards.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can do that, yeah.
So let's choose.
Do we have frijolitos or what?
No, we got
I
something
play
better
with
than that.
frijoles, by the way. I don't know how you play,
Well,
but it's
escojan su
frijolitos.
tarjeta, chicas, while I explain. With Mike, Mike, do you want to explain what the frijolitos are?
Yeah.
In your case,
The first time that we did like our first edition, we did free coffee beans. But obviously we couldn't do it because we're selling in big box stores and there's like stuff. So we decided to change it up, and so we play with Bitcoins.
Bitcoin. No, dilo como la tarjeta.
El
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
El Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
So pasen los Bitcoins. And so yes, we're going to play Millennial Lotería. I'll just grab la que caiga.
Okay.
Ten, mi querida Janet y Diana.
So amazing.
And
Pass it
so everybody has their card.
Got
Got
my
our
card.
Okay,
Here we
so
go.
Right.
whoever
Bitcoin.
completes the first line, whether it's like horizontal or vertical
Okay.
Or diagonal.
or
diagonal.
complicado.
Diagonal.
Or
Vertical, diagonal. Yeah.
So whoever completes the first line will be the Lotería.
Yeah, you
Winner,
gotta
okay?
you yell. This is Millennial Lotería, so when you win, you gotta yell, "Yes, Millennial Lotería!"
I didn't know that. 1, 2, 3.
Yes, Millennial Lotería.
I
Muy
love
bien.
it.
Perfecto.
So, Mike, you gotta do it the Latino way. You gotta go
Alright.
fast, buddy.
We're gonna go fast.
Okay,
Okay, primero,
okay.
camarón que se duerme se convierte en el sushi.
Oh.
All right, next one, Millennial Kryptonite, el gluten. El gluten.
El gluten.
El gluten, que es la muerte ahí, o la calavera. Next one is, for you girls, el podcast. El podcast.
No lo tengo.
El podcast.
No lo tengo.
It's okay. Next one is el TikTok. El TikTok bailando, el valiente.
Me tocó mala carta,
Está roto. No, it something starts like that. La student debt feels like the weight of the world
Oh,
on
I
your
got it.
shoulder. Student
Nice.
debt. Next one is las hashtag comadres.
Oh.
I like that. You better say that all the time. Hashtag comadres.
Next one is el web design.
El web design.
El web design. La araña building her Etsy
Okay.
Betsy store.
Okay, I love that you're saying the story. Go ahead.
Siguiente es la thigh gap. La thigh gap. She
thigh
took
gap.
she's on Ozempic. La thigh gap. La thigh gap. Next one is el makeup tutorial. La luna gata glow up.
We
El
need that,
makeup
girls.
tutorial. Siguiente es se ve borracho when he's doing it. El virtual reality. El VR.
El VR.
El VR.
Come on, Mike, give it to me.
Siguiente es, it's getting hot in here. El global warming. El global warming. El sol.
Warning.
Siguiente, Say no to drugs. El non-GMO. El non-GMO.
Esa era la pera antes.
La pera, ajá, la pera ahora es non-GMO.
Non-GMO. Okay.
Siguiente, since it's Millennial Lotería, everybody wins. El participation trophy. El participation trophy.
Ese era el cantarito antes.
Siguiente es el nail art. La mano went to the manicurist. El nail art.
La mano.
All right. Next one is el brunch. El brunch.
El brunch.
El
El
brunch.
brunch.
A ver, siguiente.
A ver.
El boomer.
El boomer.
El boomer. El boomer. Te falta casi
No, you
una.
got-
Sí,
you got
no
us.
pueden. Miren.
Love.
All right. Siguiente. Overworked and underpaid. Just kidding, they're not paid. El internship. El internship. El internship.
El internship.
Siguiente, she would like to speak to the manager of Millennial Lotería. La Karen.
La Karen. We all know Karen in our lives.
Next one is el vegan.
Ay,
El
ay, ay.
vegan. El venado se volvió vegan.
El venado.
El venado.
venado.
El venado.
Siguiente es el man bun.
Oh my God.
El man bun.
The man-
I know a few of those.
I love that.
El Uber.
Ay, el Uber.
¿Cómo se dice? Yes.
¡Ya! ¡La Mindy! Muy bien, comadrita. Te llevas un big yes. Yes. Oh my God, this is so much fun.
This
We
was
could keep
great.
going, right?
Oh my God, I want to play this with my
We
kids.
could keep going.
Anyway, let's
It
throw
is
the
such,
Bitcoins
you
in
know
here
what?
first.
It's such an honor
This
that
is
not
so much
everybody
fun.
could say that the Loteria was actually narrated by Mike Alfaro, right? The creator. We just want to say thank you for sharing part of your journey, because I know that there's more details in your amazing career and your projects, but seriously, thank you for bringing so much humor and
Yes.
funness and heart to our cultura. And just representing us with so much pride and color.
Thank
and
you.
That's right.
amazing
Truly.
energy. Esa
Thank you.
energía,
Sí.
that great energy.
Yeah.
Do you feel it, girls?
Yes.
It's amazing, right?
Coming off the streets. No, verdad buenas. Sí,
Yes.
tienes
Gracias.
alma, and we just appreciate everything that you're doing for not only our culture but our kids, our future kids. They're going to grow up with a little bit of our culture too,
Yeah.
And
by
this is a fun way
introducing
to
them
do
to
it.
this. So yes,
I know, this is so much fun.
So,
Thank
que
you.
nunca cambies.
Gracias.
And we are going to do a follow-up with you, hopefully, with Las Comadres. But thank you so much, Mike. Do you want to say something to our followers, subscribers? Una cosita más que quieras sacar de tu pecho, de tu corazón?
Thank you for inviting me and hearing my story. I love talking to you guys. Like, otra vez, whenever you need me, let me
Being
know.
our
I'll be
first
here.
compadre.
And yes, very
I
honored.
want you to host the Loteria game because the way he reads those cards
Yes.
is the
I know.
best.
I know. I love doing it.
Girls, I
love
have
doing
an
it.
idea. I
Maybe.
have an idea. I
So
have
do
an
I.
idea.
Oh my
We
God.
are coming up with an amazing event, and we're going to talk to you.
Talk
Yeah.
to
We
me.
have
Yes.
an offer
We're
you
gonna talk
can't
to you.
refuse.
Okay.
And it's on camera.
It's on camera,
It's
so
on
I can't
camera.
refuse.
Dice, Mike, what?
What's
¿Qué?
the offer?
¿Qué dice? You're going to be surrounded by más comadritas, God willing, if it's in the universe, right, girls?
Yeah.
Ojalá.
It all
But in the
works out.
Put it out there.
meantime,
Manifest.
Yay, this is
Manifest.
trata. That's what you did
Yes.
back in the day. And look
Yeah.
at where you are now. Look at where we are now.
I know.
Comadritas, thank you for watching us, for listening in your cars, right, girls? For hopefully
Yes.
subscribing. Where should they subscribe?
They can subscribe on YouTube. And then remember, you can listen to our podcast on all the
your favorite
platforms. So
podcasts.
Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify,
Yes.
Amazon.
Right?
And don't forget the
Amazon, yes.
socials.
Yeah,
We're on
Apple.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Yes.
Find us
Yes.
wherever you are, and also follow Mike.
Yes.
Follow me
Yes.
at Millennial Lotería.
Millennial Loteria, and we're following each other, and we're collabing with each other,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
we are going to work with each other.
Let's do
Because
that.
that's how Latinos do,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's right.
We need
Uno,
that.
dos, tres. Yes!
Yes.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love to see your reviews and hear your thoughts. You can also follow Comadres Unfiltered on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more updates. New episodes every Tuesday. Until next time, comadritas.